Hey guys, welcome back. So, I was doing some work on this 651. We pulled the transmission. We were just gonna inspect and reseal these tubes here and here. And we were just gonna kind of look around in here and see, because we have fluid from this chamber getting into this chamber. So we were trying to figure that out. Well, we pulled the transmission. And we see that. I don't know if you could see that one. Right down the center of that weld is cracked. And this is cracked up and over. We're still gonna pull these tubes to inspect them and put new seals on them. We just gotta finish cleaning all the, so we got gear oil and we have hydraulic oil in here. And you can imagine this is just like being inside of a differential. Like if anybody's ever smelled gear oil in like a regular car, that's what this entire chamber smells like. And I'm gonna have to get inside there for sure to get to the back side of that. And as a reference, here's the ring gear. Pretty massive compared to a regular vehicle. All right, we're gonna get this thing cleaned out a little bit better. Probably get this out of the way and start yanking these tubes out. The tubes have to come out regardless, because that one, the heat would definitely affect the seal on it, so that has to come out no matter what. We'll pull the axles back out and then we'll get on the backside and see what it looks like. All right, so wanted to show you guys these blue plug cap kits. If you don't know about them and you do this type of work, it's definitely something that you need to invest in. I'm not worried about in here right now. I'm gonna be air arcing or plasma cutting and grinding in here, and this is gonna have to be like just crazy cleaned after that. But so to get this, kind of explain what I'm doing, this tube has to come out. It's going to run into this, which if you remove that, that's holding the hydraulic tank up. So you'd have to remove the hydraulic tank first, but somebody has welded the hydraulic tank to this mount in multiple locations. I need to reseal this hydraulic tank anyways. We're going to split it and reseal it. So I'm going to try to remove the tank and its bracket at the same time. In order to do that, I have to disconnect all the lines. So as an example, you have all these lines. You disconnect one line, put the cap in there. You don't have to worry about anything, dirt getting in there. You don't have to worry about cleaning the lines. Super simple. I'm not super worried about the hydraulic tank because it's going to get clean. But all the lines are capped off. Don't have to worry about it. I did want to show that, and I did want to go over that. Now I have to remove all of this as one piece because it's all welded together. It's supposed to bolt together right here. Should be a bolt right there, but it's all welded. Same thing with that, and then something back in there. Should be able to get it though. Now I got to figure out if the fender is welded to it or not. I think it's all bolted on. So I gotta unbolt all that. Oh, the joys of working on old stuff. You have no idea what's been done to it. All right, get this tank off. All right, well, they've got some factory bolts here. That one's gone. I'm assuming it's broke off. It's got those three. I loosened those all up, didn't move. We'll come to find out it's welded all on the back side of this. So now I gotta crawl underneath there. I'll air arc those welds off and then come back and get this bolt, and hopefully it'll move. right, so we got the hydraulic tank off, mount off. You can see where that was welded, all right there. That's definitely not factory to do that. So now these tubes, I got this one loose. I wanted to show you right there. That is also not good. You can see the O-ring starting to fail. Multiple locations. I'm not sure if this one is, but now we're gonna fish out these other ones, and I'm willing to bet those are cracked as well. All right, well, I was only able to get out that one that was right here. This is the back one, and I cannot get it past that point. And these two top ones I cannot get to move at all with using an air hammer, a hammer and chisel, everything. So time to get a little bit more creative. I talked to someone that I would regard as an expert on these machines, and he said that the tubes can go forwards or backwards, and they usually pull them out the back because there's more room to work here. He said to weld a nut on the inside and do a slide hammer type action. I made that piece earlier, got some all thread. I'm gonna tack that in there with another piece with some legs and a nut and tighten it down in hopes that it will pull these tubes out. Hopefully that works. You can see this one has marks on it. It's got porosity right here. I have a feeling that this has something similar has happened before to these tubes. Also, I do believe that crack, something happened in there, and it's also binding on that tube, not helping the situation. All right, I'll get my my contraption set up here. We'll try this one first. I'll get it set up here, and then we'll go from there. All right, that's what I used. Tried that. It just, something didn't seem right. I don't know why I didn't measure it the other day, but I put the micrometers on it, and that back side is a little over 1/8 of an inch bigger than this side. So that ain't gonna fit to that hole. There's no way. So that means it has to go that way. Has to go that way. So that means dropping the belly pan, and then whatever tube that is right there in that hole, we gotta take that off. I believe it's an elbow. Take that off, and then push this through that direction. All right, I'm gonna try to get this top one out. We'll try to pull this one out this way and see what happens. All right, we pulled that top tube back a little bit, enough where I could get calipers in there and measure it. And sure enough, same thing. It will not fit this way. It has to go that way. And of course, the tube is 21 inches long, have about 10 or 12 inches on the other side, and then it runs into the hydraulic pump. Hydraulic pump is big on this machine. So that would have to get removed, and there's tons of fittings and stuff. So we're gonna do some more research and just make sure we're going about this the right way. And then we'll be back. I believe I can leave the bottom one in if I had to, but in order to repair that crack, that tube needs to come out of there. All right, well, we'll be back on this. All right, so the hydraulic tank is back at the shop. Jacob has it fairly clean, the pressure washer, way better than it was. So we're splitting the tank now to reseal it. So let's see what happens. Probably get a pry bar in there now. Pick up on the forklift. Okay. Okay, well there's the leak. O-ring. All right. All right, well, we got this all figured out. So basically, we dropped the belly pan, pulled some 90-degree elbows off of that side, and the bottom tube I was able to push out the front fairly easy. The top tube, however, that's as far as she's going. We took off a bunch of lines and fittings, and it's not going any more than that versus basically pulling the back half of the engine off, and we're not doing that. Got plenty of room to do what I need to do here. And looking at this, I believe, this is one big thick plate, and then they machined the center of that to fit the tubes. And these welds around it are just surface welds, meaning that, with that weld there is a gap in between this and this underneath the weld. So it's not necessarily, I don't need to cut this out and do a 100% penetration weld in this section. Right here, we're gonna do that though. And also right here, I believe that is just a surface weld. And the same thing on the back side. I can't see it. I'll have to get a flashlight. So we're gonna start cutting on this. I'll probably gouge this one a little bit deeper. It'll give it a little bit better of a weld than just that one surface weld. The goal is to have the transmission back in today. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see the big old axle shaft. All right, well, let's get geared up here, get in there and start cutting. All right. Well, I was right on this being a fully separate piece, cut and welded into that. You can see there's actually quite a large gap in between there. So we've got it gouged all the way around, a little bit extra than what it was from the factory. We'll get all that cleaned up and then we'll fill all of this in here. We still have to probably clamp these two. These two faces are slightly off of parallel, maybe I don't know, around 64th or so. You can feel it when it was broken. And then another surface weld, we've got that cut as well. Get the light, here we go. Get the grinder in there, get it cleaned up. And then I got that surface weld cracked, blown out on that side. All right, now we gotta get all that slag and everything cleaned off there and start welding her out. All right, we got the inside welded out here. Doesn't look too bad. Now we're gonna blend this in here. Obviously that's not gonna work like that for an O-ring. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see the backside without a flashlight. All right, so we're gonna work on blending this, getting that surface. The only thing that is really somewhat critical is these two faces here. But we'll make it look nice. Then I get to clean all of this out of here. You know, because this is probably not good to go through a transmission and a differential. So clean all that out. Clean that tube, get the new O-rings on that tube, get these tubes back in. That way the other guy can start putting those elbows on. Get the sucker done. All right, now we're gonna blend that. right, we got the tubes in. You can see the blending there, should be perfect. And we have this big old fat O-ring that's gonna push on that to seal it. All right, I mean, this whole video wasn't even supposed to be about the transmission at all, but I can show you putting it in there. And then, yeah, it'll be up to them to fill it full of fluid and test it out. That's the last look before she gets covered up. All right, well, tranny fought us a little bit, so it's in there. I didn't get any footage of it because it was starting to get frustrating. Now we have a hydraulic tank, a couple lines to put on right here. Hopefully that goes pretty straightforward, then we'll see if it all works. Well, we got her all back together. Everything appears to be working great. What a sigh of relief. All right, well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.